Hi, I'm Nick, and today is December 31st. So I know many of us will be setting New Year's resolutions or New Year's goals for the coming year 2015. So I thought it would be appropriate to discuss a passage of scripture that is very appropriate in goal setting and setting New Year's resolutions. It comes from Psalm 90, verse 12. It says, "So teach us to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom." And I posted previously on this about living with intentionality. And I find it interesting that when the psalmist recognizes that if we number our days, if we think about the fact that we are going to die, then we get a heart of wisdom. And we get a heart of wisdom because all of a sudden our priorities become clear. All the peripheral stuff that we get involved in life, the minutia, it all becomes obvious, that is not necessary. And so it becomes clear what we need to say yes to and what we need to say no to. Our priorities become aligned because we get a heart of wisdom when we recognize we are going to die. So I am going to pose a question for you for this coming year, 2015. For the next 365 days, right? If the next 365 days in 2015 were going to be your last days, what would you do? What relationships would you develop? Or what relationships would you mend? Or what would you want to be remembered for by those who are close to you? These are questions that you start to think about when you consider the end of your life. Now, in setting a New Year's resolution, setting New Year's goals, once we figure out, okay, what's truly important, and I would recommend writing those things down, what's truly important, you're going to need three things if you're going to do what's truly important in the next 365 days. The first thing is you're going to need a specific plan. Okay, if you're going to drive from Virginia to Florida, you're going to need a map. You're going to need a specific plan or route. Maybe you'll stay at a hotel instead of driving the whole way there. Maybe you'll take a flight, right? Either way, you need a specific plan to get to your destination. It's not just, let's just hop and drive in a direction and hopefully we'll get there one day. Right? That won't work. So you need a specific plan. The second thing is you need disciplined intentionality, because once you have that specific plan, all the peripheral things that aren't very important, you will find yourself getting involved in. So it's going to take you being extremely disciplined and intentional to stick to your plan and do only the things that are truly important and let go of the things that aren't important and peripheral. And the third thing you're going to need is you are going to need to diligently work on that plan. Now, I'm on vacation in Williamsburg, and Kate and I went to Colonial Williamsburg, and we stopped in the bookstore in the visitor center there, and I picked up a book called Franklin's Way to Wealth. This is written by Benjamin Franklin, obviously, but I want to read the first two paragraphs in reference to working diligently. So this is from Benjamin Franklin's Way to Wealth. Courteous reader, I have heard that nothing gives an author so great pleasure as to find his works respectfully quoted by others. Judge then how much I must have been gratified by an incident I am going to relate to you. I stopped my horse lately where a great number of people were collected at an auction of merchants' goods. The hour of the sale not being come, they were conversing on the badness of the times. And one of the company called to a plain, clean old man with white locks. Pray, Father Abraham, what think you of the times? Will not these heavy taxes quite ruin the country? How shall we ever be able to pay them? What would you advise us to? Father Abraham stood up and replied, If you would have my advice, I will give it you in short. For a word to the wise is enough, as Poor Richard says. They joined in desiring him to speak his mind, and gathering around him, he proceeded as follows. Friends, he said, the taxes are indeed very heavy, and if those laid on by the government were the only taxes we had to pay, we might more easily discharge them. But we have many others, and much more grievous to some of us. We are taxed twice as much by our idleness, 3 times as much by our pride, and 4 times as much by our folly. And from these taxes the commissioners cannot ease or deliver us by allowing an abatement. However, let us hearken to good advice, and something may be done for us. God helps them that helps themselves, as Poor Richard says. Those are the first 2 paragraphs, and I thought it was interesting that he points out 3 things that we are taxed on that are greater taxes on us than the taxes of our circumstances, the government, or the situation you find yourself in. You're taxed twice as much by your idleness, 3 times as much by your pride, and 4 times as much by your folly. You know, Solomon even recognized that the diligent prosper, because that's what he said in Proverbs. He says the diligent prosper. And so the third thing that's going to take for you to be successful in achieving your plan is you're going to have to diligently work. Now, I've included a link, and no, it's not an affiliate link, so I get no commission for it, but it's a great resource. It's Michael Hyatt's 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever. I highly recommend it. And so my question again, what are you going to do differently over the next year, 2015, if these were your last 365 days? What would you do differently? I'm Nick. Thanks for watching.